Hey Ravens fans, last night's game was a real thriller, but it didn't end exactly how we expected. Lamar Jackson started his MVP defense in style, and while the Ravens didn't pull out the win, he showed once again why he's one of the most electric players in the league. Let's break down everything that went down, but before we dive into today's big news, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any Ravens updates. Trust me, with the season starting and all the action just around the corner, you won't want to miss a thing. Now, let's get to it. Lamar was nothing short of incredible last night. He was the heart and soul of the offense, making magic happen with his legs and arms. With the offensive line looking more like Swiss cheese than a protective wall, Jackson had to pull off some heroics just to keep us in the game. And boy, did he deliver. He finished with 273 yards through the air and added 122 more on the ground. That's 400 yards total. It's not every day you see a quarterback put up numbers like that. But then again, Lamar isn't just any quarterback. Now let's be real, he wasn't perfect. There were some lapses that hurt. Early in the second quarter, he lost a fumble that gave the Chiefs an opportunity they couldn't take. And then late in the game, with 10 seconds left on the clock, he fumbled a wide-open Zay Flowers in the end zone. That hurt. Had Lamar connected on that pass, we might be talking about a completely different outcome today. But let's not get lost in the what-ifs. As frustrating as those moments were, Jackson was the reason the Ravens had a chance to win. He kept us in the fight, and if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have come away with a touchdown in the fourth quarter. There were moments where he looked like Superman out there, dodging defenders and making throws on the move. One thing I know for sure, despite the loss, Lamar will be in the MVP conversation all season long. His performance last night was just a reminder that we're watching something special with this guy. I mean, he even passed Russell Wilson for third place in NFL rushing yards all time for a quarterback. Add to that, Mahomes set his own milestone by becoming the Chiefs' all-time leading passer. And we were watching history unfold right in front of us. But back to the game. The Ravens were there. If Isaiah Likely had been able to stay in bounds on that final play, we could have seen something miraculous. It's a tough pill to swallow, losing 27-24, especially in a game that felt so winnable. But that's football. Sometimes it all comes down to the little details. And last night, the details just didn't fall in our favor. There's a lot to take away from this game, though. The Ravens' offense showed flashes of what could be a dominant season. And even though Derrick Henry wasn't as involved as many of us expected, you can bet we'll see more of him as the season progresses. Imagine what this offense will look like when Monken actually puts Henry in action alongside Lamar. That combination of thunder and lightning will be a problem for defenses. But let's address the elephant in the room: the referees. I'm not usually one to complain, but some of those calls last night were questionable, to say the least. There were times when it felt like the game was being influenced in ways it shouldn't have been. But, hey, that's not why we lost. We had our chances, and we just didn't take advantage of them. Looking ahead, this is just one game. Sure, it was a tough loss, especially in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship, but the season is long, and there's no doubt the Ravens will bounce back. Lamar will fix these little mistakes, and when this offense really starts clicking, we'll be a force to be reckoned with. The chemistry is there, the talent is there, and now it's just execution. So what do you guys think? Was last night just a bump in the road? Or do you think there's something else to worry about? Should Derrick Henry be more involved going forward? And do you think Lamar will repeat as MVP this season? I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. The Ravens came so close to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Seriously, how much closer can you get? After a tough first half and some questionable refereeing calls, things started to heat up in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. That's when all the drama began. We went into the fourth quarter down 20-10, and it looked bleak. But then Lamar Jackson did what Lamar Jackson does. He found Isaiah Likely for an impressive 49-yard reception and run that got us back in the game with a touchdown. The connection between Jackson and Likely is something special, and it was on full display last night. But of course, the Chiefs responded. Xavier Worthy scored on KC's next drive, and then Justin Tucker kicked a field goal to put us up 7 points with just under 5 minutes to go. At that point, all the Chiefs had to do was run out the clock. But they didn't. The Ravens' defense stepped up, giving Lamar and the offense one last chance to tie or even steal the win. In the final seconds, Jackson ran in and threw a pass deep into the end zone. Isaiah Likely made the catch of the night, seemingly landing just in bounds to put the Ravens within 1 point at 27-26. It was a magical moment. The Ravens were going for two. We were about to steal a win from Kansas City, and then heartbreak. The touchdown was overturned. The referees ruled that Likely had stepped out of bounds. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, the comeback was snatched away. How much closer could we have gotten? Many fans, and even some players, thought the touchdown should have stood. Lamar Jackson himself was frustrated with the call. And honestly, watching it in real time, it was about as close as you can get. Likely admitted after he left. But man, that catch was something else. Even without a score, it was an incredible play. Social media had a field day with the missed touchdown, and while it was a tough pill to swallow for Ravens fans, you have to appreciate the heart and effort this team showed. Isaiah Likely proved he's a future star on this offense, and if last night is any indication, we'll be seeing a lot more of him this season. He was a game changer. At the end of the day, football really is a game of inches, or in this case, millimeters. It's frustrating, no doubt, but there's a lot to be excited about with this Ravens team. We have a long season ahead of us, and this offense is just getting started. What do you think, Ravens fans? Should that touchdown have counted? Are you worried about the Ravens after this close loss, or do you think this team is ready to take off? Ronnie Stanley, the Ravens' left tackle, was not happy with the way the referees singled him out during the game. Stanley was flagged 3 times for illegal formation, and it clearly irked him. On just the second play of the game, Stanley was hit with a penalty without any warning. And from his perspective, it seemed like the referees were making an example of him. Stanley wasn't shy about it, saying, "It seemed like they were just trying to make an example and they singled me out." And here's the thing. The Ravens were flagged 5 times for illegal formation, but the Chiefs, not once. While Stanley claims he was aligned correctly, the Kansas City right tackle didn't receive a single flag, even though Stanley said they were aligned the same way. John Harbaugh echoed Stanley's frustration, noting that the illegal formation has been a point of emphasis this season, but questioned the inconsistency in how it was called. "I'm going to challenge them to call it the same way all season long," Harbaugh said, making it clear he expects justice going forward. Stanley has a right to be frustrated, and it will be interesting to see if that trend continues. Last season, Stanley was flagged 11 times, but none of them were for illegal formations, so this was unusual territory for him. We'll have to see if the league responds after the Ravens submit the film for review. What do you think, Ravens fans? Was Stanley unfairly targeted, or were the refs just doing their job? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest news. Go Ravens!